Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today I'll be continuing to read Black Panther, the Young Prince. So let's continue. Chapter 10. The boys' first weekend finally arrived, and they were eager to get out and explore the city. They'd seen next to nothing besides their school and the embassy since they'd landed in Chicago. "Where do you want to go?" M'Baku asked, trying his sneakers. T'Challa hesitated. "I don't know. We should probably stay close, though, right?" M'Baku let out an exasperated breath. "T'Challa, we can do anything we want. Who's gonna know?" T'Challa thought about that. There was a whole city to explore. Were they supposed to stay in their rooms the whole time they were going to be here? "You're right," he confessed. "Let's do it." But in the back of his mind, he heard his father's voice, loud and clear. "I have many enemies, and I will not have them know of your whereabouts." He put on his coat and headed out with M'Baku. T'Challa tapped his bus card against the reader, and M'Baku did the same. "No forest to run around here," T'Challa said, once they'd found seats. He peered through the window. The Willis Tower loomed skyward, a blinking red light at the very top. "We should go up there," M'Baku suggested. "I could spit, and we could see how far it goes." "Yeah," T'Challa said in mock sincerity. "That would be completely fascinating." The bus heaved its way down the street, stopping and starting with a lurch, and letting passengers off and on. T'Challa thought of home again. He needed to call his father. "You know what Chicago has that we don't back home?" M'Baku asked, interrupting T'Challa's thoughts. "What?" M'Baku smiled, showing every one of his bright white teeth. "Pizza!" 20 minutes later, M'Baku wiped pizza grease from his lips and reached for another slice. "That's your third, isn't it?" T'Challa asked. M'Baku held up 4 fingers with his free hand. The pizza place was called Antonio's, and they picked it at random because there were so many to choose from. T'Challa bit into his slice of pepperoni. "It's good," he said. Grunted M'Baku. T'Challa glanced around the restaurant. It felt strange to him. Most of the people were white, which was something he wasn't used to. Wakanda was an African country, and the people he grew up with were black. He was reminded of Hunter, and how he was looked at in Wakanda. "Uh-oh," moaned M'Baku, his mouth full of pizza. The door closed and 3 boys walked in. It was Gemini Jones and his friends. M'Baku slumped down in his seat a little. T'Challa did not. "Let me get a slice of pepperoni," Gemini demanded from the man at the register. His 2 friends, Deshaun and Bicep, ordered something called subs. T'Challa swallowed his last bit of pizza right when Gemini turned around from the corner. Their eyes met. "Oh, snap!" Gemini said. "It's Africa! What up, Africa?" T'Challa didn't know what to say. Gemini sauntered over, just like he had in the cafeteria. His friends tagged along behind him. He leaned in and rested his fingertips on the table. T'Challa noticed a ring again, a gleaming silver skull. People are afraid of him because he says he's a warlock. "Mind if we sit here?" Gemini asked, and then slid in next to M'Baku, who barely had time to scrunch himself toward the window side of the booth. Deshaun scooted in next to Gemini, and Bicep sat next to T'Challa. The server brought their food and left quickly. T'Challa noticed that Deshaun and Bicep also sported skull rings. "They got pizza in Africa?" Gemini asked, biting into his slice. "No," said T'Challa. Gemini chewed and nodded at the same time. Deshaun and Bicep said nothing, just stared at M'Baku and T'Challa like they were aliens from another planet. "In Chi-Town, we do pizza all the time," Gemini boasted. T'Challa didn't say anything. He was curious as to why Gemini and his friends decided to sit with them. It was a power play. He knew that much. You know, Gemini continued, and then wiped his mouth with the back of his hand, I'm not that good with the fancy wrestling, but you know what I am good at? No, T'Challa answered. Arm wrestling. Wanna go? Go where? T'Challa replied. Gemini leaned back. He nodded his head a few times. You're a funny dude, Africa. Come on, arm wrestle me. Loser buys a whole pie. M'Baku looked at T'Challa and raised an eyebrow. T'Challa picked up a napkin and wiped his hands. All right, if you really want to. Uh-oh, Deshaun and Bicep both said, and then looked at each other with annoyed faces. Napkins and plates were quickly moved. T'Challa rested his right elbow, on the table. He and M'Baku used to arm wrestle all the time when they were kids. Truth be told, T'Challa wasn't great at it, but Gemini's skinny arm didn't look too intimidating. Gemini rubbed his hands together and then placed his elbow on the table. Okay, let's do this. The boys clasped hands. T'Challa stared at Gemini. He had the whisper of a little fuzz on his upper lip, and T'Challa imagined him standing in front of the mirror every morning trying to brush it. 1, said Deshaun. 2, added Bicep. There was a moment of silence. They turned to look at M'Baku. 3, he said. Both boys leaned into the table. Gemini's grip was like a vise. The skull ring on his finger stood out and rubbed T'Challa's pinky finger. Come on, Gemini, Deshaun encouraged him. M'Baku looked at T'Challa. They didn't have to speak. M'Baku just gave him a curious tilt of the head, as if to say, You gonna let this guy beat you? T'Challa breathed out and pushed him further. His hand suddenly felt slick, and he didn't know if it was from the pizza grease or sweat. Both boys' elbows pivoted a little on the table. Gemini was leaning in, and T'Challa felt the whole weight of his upper body trying to bend him on his will. Not bad, Africa, Gemini said, his voice straining. My name's not Africa, T'Challa wanted to say. It's T'Challa, Prince of Wakanda. Bang! Gemini's knuckles hit the table. T'Challa released his grip. No one spoke. Deshaun and Bicep looked at Gemini warily, waiting. Gemini took his wrist and flexed his fingers. Took you long enough, he said lazily. I could have gone longer, but got tired. Next time, bro. He got up and his friends rose with him, grabbing their half-eaten food. They seemed to follow his every lead. Hey, M'Baku called. You owe us a pizza. Gemini stopped mid-step and turned around. T'Challa grinned. I got your pizza right there, Gemini said, and made a rude gesture. The door slammed as Gemini and his friends left the pizza shop.